Welcome to Aqualux. I'm Tony White, and in today's video, we're going to talk about repairing / refilling bottle jacks. Hey fellas, I'm Tony White, a licensed yacht broker. This is Rusty, the Harley I use to travel all over Florida in search of new clients. I'm rebuilding my grocery getter and my new home. Subscribe and welcome to Aqualux, my journey to becoming a yachtsman. Love, Lux, our life. All right, so as we get started, I'd like to take a moment to ask you to like this channel and subscribe to Aqualux. Hit the button. Now, okay, so these are bottle jacks. They have 1,000,001 different uses. My use for them is removing my vessels, boats, and yachts off of their trailer and putting them back on their trailer. Maybe there's a repair that needs to happen, or maybe it's going to go get work done. Whatever the case is, that's exactly what I use them for. These are both 8-ton, so that's 16,000 pounds. 16,000 pounds is more than enough oomph for my TR. I keep pointing this way and you can't see it. I apologize. But that's more than enough for what I need. I have 2 of them. And then I also have a floor jack that I like to use because it pivots and moves the vessel from side to side. I do it on purpose. So, but today what we're going to do is we are going to repair these. So when I say repair, you got 2 different types of repairs you can do on these devices. One is where you take the top off and then you change the seals and all that jazz. I don't know how to do that just yet. Maybe I'll learn how to do it so I can teach you how to do it. As for right now, all we really need to do with these is fill them. I bought them last year when was it last year? I bought them late 2017 when I first bought this Tiara. And I used them to load and unload the boat. It was a really crazy situation. I almost killed myself. So that being said, all they really need is to be refilled. These things normally last a good 9 to 15 years from what I hear. I don't know for sure. I've only had the thing for 1.5 years or more. And these, I know that they're in good shape. And normally you drain all of the oil out. I won't be draining all of the oil out for 2 reasons. 1, I'm frugal. My mama calls me cheap, whatever. 2, it's not that old. Normally you need to change it out because the fluid gets old and it starts to do funky stuff. So I know this fluid's good. It's only 1 year old. So I'm just going to top it off. You can shake them and hear, maybe the microphone will pick it up, but you can barely hear it. And then that one, you can really hear it. So the microphone's right here. Thought maybe it might work. Not sure. So before we get too crazy, these are the tools that we're going to need. Of course, you'll need the handle. And I need, because these are dirty, a little brush, protection for your eyes, a little scraper just to get in the corners, and some gloves to keep our hands clean. It's kind of nasty stuff. You do your best to keep your hands clean. And then a little bit of hydraulic jack oil or hydraulic jack oil and or hydraulic oil. So you don't have to use this particular brand. You can use whatever brand is most convenient. I apologize for the wind. It's crazy today. So what we're going to do, we'll start with this one. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put on my gloves and walk you through what the steps are going to be, and then we're going to knock this out. You're going to want to hang out to the end. This video shouldn't be 3 minutes long. It might be 3 minutes long. I don't know, I keep this nonsense up and it'll definitely be more than 3 minutes long. So on the back right here, we have, for this particular brand, this is where it's at. It's always going to kind of be in the same spot simply because how they work, right? So this is made of rubber. We're going to use a screwdriver. I'm probably going to use this. To pry that out, once we get it open, we will be able to refill this. Okay, if yours is older, or the one you have is older, if it's something that you found on the side of the road and you just want to fix it, make it work, what you're going to need to do is you need to pop this out, drain it completely, because you don't know how old that fluid is, and then refill it. So first steps first, let's clean it up and we can get to it. The reason that I am cleaning this and getting the dirt and debris off of it is pretty simple. You don't want anything foreign in there. You most certainly don't want gritty sand down in there, because it would most likely cause you some problems. So what this particular jack is doing is it's not extending all the way up. And I know why it's not extending all the way up, because I created the issue myself. So while I was using it, I backed this knob out too far and then oil poured out of it. And then I put it back on and I didn't tighten it very well, tossed it in the back of the truck, and majority of the oil out of this thing was in the back of my truck and not in here. So now it doesn't go up nearly as high as it did before, thus not being as effective of a tool as it could be. So we are just getting this pretty clean. It doesn't have to be super clean, but it does need to be a little, ow, yeah. Whew. Okay, I'm good. All right. You ever like smash your hand? The pain is so bad that you can't express the pain appropriately. You just gotta let that happen, man. I apologize. That hurt. I do that to myself seemingly quite a bit. Okay. It's a good thing I wore these glasses. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm gonna wipe some of this lube off the top of here and move on to the next step. So now that we've got it clean, the next thing we need to do is get this out. So you really want to use a screwdriver, and the reason you want to use a screwdriver is because you don't want to score or scar, however you say it, this rubber up, and you don't want to cut it on accident. But I'm being Tony about it. Oh, there we go. So it pops right out. I was being ginger with it. This stuff stinks. This is the little doodad that's down in there. I don't know what you would call that. So we're gonna sit this over here in a clean spot. And now there's a couple different ways that I've seen guys check the fluid level on this. I've seen them take a zip tie, cut a zip tie and stick it down in there and then pull it out to see how much is in there. And I've seen them stick a string in. I've seen them stick a wire in. I've seen them stick all kind of stuff in there. But as far as I know, there's supposed to be a mark inside. I don't see one. Didn't think I was going to be able to see it even if it was actually in there. But the basic idea is you fill this thing up until you get to about right here. Okay. Once you've done that, you've pretty much done all you can do. Obviously, you can't fill it up above this. So you're going to take your oil. I've already I thought I had already cut the top on this thing. Pull out my handy dandy K-bar and and spill it everywhere. So that's that. I need to clean that mess up. It's not going anywhere because there's ribs in here. So I'll clean that up shortly. There we go. that's on. And now we're gonna make even more of a mess. Look at that. Hadn't even taken that out yet. It's craziness. I would assume this stuff is probably really corrosive. So you don't want to get this off of anything that it gets on. I'm going to push my luck here. Looks like I might have cut that down too far. So hold that thought. Okay, so here we go. Now that I've spilled stinky hydraulic oil everywhere, there we go. And it seems to be going in really well. Okay, so basically the idea is you stop once it starts spitting it out, and apparently I put way more in. The mistake that I made was I leaned it over. You're supposed to leave it standing up, and there's lots of fluid coming out of there. Lots of fluid coming out of there. You don't want to overfill this. I'm pretty sure that would be probably catastrophic at some point if it were overfilled and you overloaded it and a bunch of other stuff. My gosh, how much of this stuff? So there is a slight chance that this is just because of like air bubbles. I doubt it, but it is possible. So I got my finger over it, giving the air a little bit of time to get where it wants to get. It did slow down quite a bit. All right. Okay, so now that this bottle jack massacre is over with, now you just replace that little bung or whatever you want to call it. You just kind of use your thumb and wiggle it around, and it'll slide right in there. You know what I mean. So that is done. I need to clean this up so that I can see if there are any issues with it. But for right now, what we're going to do, this should not be nearly as messy as I have made it to be. And look, our jack is going up with no problem. That's fantastic. Now, you need to do this until you get it completely extended so that you can, so that you make sure that, this thing's working, 100% properly. All right, so that's it right there. And that's about all you really get out of this particular jack. But you can see the rust line of where it was stopping and all that jazz. So what we do next is we move the carnage. No. We wanted to stay on the truck. We needed to stay on the truck. Okay. So now the next step is to, now we back this down. So we're going to loosen that. and push it down. And then we're gonna lock it. Now, to bleed it, there's a lot of different ways to do it. The way that I'm gonna show you how to do it is basically to turn it upside down, tap it a few times. That way, if there's any air bubbles down here in this chamber, or if there's any air bubbles over here in this pump chamber, it'll dislodge itself and work its way up top. So you might need to do this maybe 4 or 5 times. It's kind of one of those things where you kind of just do it until it's done kind of deal. So this wasn't giving me any issues or any problems, but for the sake of showing you how to do it and you know, problem shooting it now, just in case there are any bubbles or any issues, I don't know. Just go ahead and knock it out. So that's the process. That's how it works. A little bit about these jacks. I purchased this from Harbor Freight. As I've said many times before, I used to work for Harbor Freight. I was the warehouse manager, and I really enjoyed working there. It was fun. I like tools and stuff, and the people that I worked with were fun. And there's a lot of pretty girls that work at Harbor Freight. I don't know why, they just are. But as the warehouse manager, I got to see what fails, what doesn't fail. And I got to see what got returned the most often. If I end up with one of those tools that gets returned often, I will show it to you and I'll tell you why it gets returned so often, and I'll tell you how to really combat that. I mean, because with some of the tools that they have, some of the prices, you just can't beat that price. And sometimes your project is going to cost you so much that you have to go bare minimal with your tools, and that's okay. They make great tools. I have lots of Harbor Freight tools. I enjoy using their tools, and they're reliable. You treat your tools right, they'll last you. Some stuff, not so much, but most of their tools is pretty much so. So that's about it with that. Yes, I am telling you about Harbor Freight tools for 2 reasons. One, it's the tools that I use. And if you're doing this project, it's going to be the most cost-effective way, most likely the most cost-effective way for you to get this done and have some equity in your toolbox. Okay. And the other reason is I am working at becoming an affiliate, or working at being an affiliate with Harbor Freight tools. Number 1, because I use the product. Number 2, somebody's got to pay the bills while you watch these snazzy dazzy videos. All right. So that being said, I think that's pretty much all I have to offer you for today about the Aqualux channel. Click on the little button below that takes you to the home page. Watch the intro video. It'll tell you everything you need to know about what to expect from this channel for at least the next 6 months to a year, as it will be ever growing and ever changing, right? Beyond that, I think the last thing that really needs to be said is to subscribe to Aqualux so that you can catch these snazzy dazzy videos as the channel grows and changes. And thank you. Aqua Love, Aqualux, Aqua Life. Tony White. Have a good one.